there are some of these that like I know what they mean, but I myself don't use them very much because it's like mostly people in like Southern California that use it, or people in like New York that use it. If that makes sense. But I've still heard all of them. So if somebody said any of these, I still understand what they meant. But some of these are just things that I myself don't say as much. So okay, now turn back with the same person you were just with.
This savage.
Oh,
savage.
Yeah. Or savage? Oh yeah. So I guess we said that it means petty, and I guess that's so like savage is like.
What does it mean? The word petty.
Petty? Oh, okay. So if something's petty, it means you're like making a big deal over something that really doesn't matter very much. So like if somebody's being petty about something, like let's say we were walking and sorry. Thank you so much for coming. And I think I wanted us to all do one more of these, but I guess it just became new. So if you need to leave, you can. Or if you want to do a lightning round, and I guess I can just go around and you can just try to use one of these on the spot. We could do that too. Okay. In a few minutes. Petty. So like if we're walking and I trip and you're carrying a stack of papers and like one paper falls down and you start yelling at me, that would be really petty, right? Because I didn't try to trip. I didn't try to cause you to like drop a single paper. But then if you start yelling, that's like making a big deal out of nothing. I don't really think that that's what savage is. Like, if you come back with, like I said, with like a comeback that's like really good and really fiery, somebody might go like, whoa, dude, that was savage. Like, whoa, that was a lot. Like, that was really like if somebody makes a joke at my expense and somebody comes back and just says something that just totally is like,
just say shook.
Yeah, and I'm like, whoa, okay, I don't really know that was like warranted, but like whatever, like that was like savage. Or I don't know, savage can also just mean like cruel, kind of. Like if somebody does something and somebody's like, whoa, dude, that was savage. It can just be like, whoa, that was like impressive, or that was like a lot of something. Does that make sense? So I don't think it really means petty. I don't think that's exactly what it means. But like if I like with my generation, like this has come up a lot, but like roasts and comebacks are a lot and are like important. And so like you might say that something was like a savage comeback, or like a savage roast, or a savage burn, or like it just means it was like impressive. That makes sense. Or it was a lot. I don't know if that makes sense. But okay, so now I want to try to go around to each of you. So I'm gonna give you like half a minute, and I want you to just look at one. We aren't going to do this in partners. Just look at one, find one, and think of a way that you can use it in a sentence. And then we're just going to go around in the circle, and I want everybody to try to share theirs. All right? So I'm going to give you like 30 seconds, and we're just going to like go right around, and that'll be that. And then we'll sing Happy Birthday. Thank you. Oh, that's one that I never use. Shoot. Where is that? Turn? Yeah, it's like. Yeah, that's not one that I use very much, but it means basically what it says. Like, oh yeah. Yeah, it's like I'm really hyped for the part. Do you guys know what hype means? Hype means it's like, oh yeah, we're turned, right? We're hyped. Or we're like, but that's just something that sounds awkward when I say it, and it's like not.
It's instead of saying like I'm excited.
Yeah, it means like hyped, but usually in the context of like a party or something that's gonna be like cool, or like something like you don't say like if it's just something small like, oh yeah, my mom said she's making my favorite dish for dinner, you don't say I'm turned. Like that would be silly. You use it for like some like social thing that's gonna be cool or something. But okay, do you guys all have something in mind? No, kind of. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Then Mariana, why don't you start?
So I try to I don't know how to say it. So I like basic people. So I try to have like interesting friends and go to museums and cinema, etc. So
Wait,
I don't know.
Wait, did you say you don't like basic friends?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. Does like basic make sense? Yeah. It's like if somebody like if you ask them for like their favorite movie, and they're like, oh, I don't know, what's like a just super popular movie that literally everybody's seen?
500 Days with Summer.
Oh no, but even that is still kind of like a little bit quirky and indie. Okay. So like if I'm like, what's your favorite movie? And they're like Grown Ups or Notebooks. Grown Ups is a really stupid Adam Sandler comedy that is not funny. It's just gross. It's just a lot of gross and vulgar things, and I don't know. It made a lot of money at the box office, so I guess a lot of people saw it. I don't understand why. I saw 5 minutes of it and was like, I'm never going to watch this. It's like if you ask somebody and like they haven't seen, like they don't know anything about art, they aren't really cultured, they just like only like
gotta love art.
or if I'm like, what's your favorite thing you've ever watched? And they're like, Keeping Up with the Kardashians. or like something like that, like you would say that that's kind of basic. But perfect. There you go. Mariana's was perfect. Anybody else want to go?
Me.
Yes.
Well, in the series of SquarePants, SpongeBob.
Yep, SpongeBob SquarePants.
There's a character named Squidward.
Yep.
Who is very salty to all of the people in Bikini Bottom.
Yeah. Yep. There you go. Yep. Perfect.
Who? Sorry, who?
Squidward.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Being salty.
Yeah.
It's like if I'm salty, if I'm just like having a bad day and I'm just kind of like snapping at everybody and I'm like, if you're excited about something and I'm like, that's stupid. You'd be like, oh, don't be salty. Or like if I'm upset because like all my friends are going to like do something and I wasn't invited, I might be salty. Like kind of like resentful, bitter. Yeah, so perfect. Squidward is very salty. All right, anybody else?
I got out so early from my house, so I am hungry.
Angry? Hungry. Yeah,
Hungry.
it's a mixture of being hungry and angry. Like if it's already dinner time, but you were super busy and you didn't get to eat like breakfast or lunch, it might start to like affect your mood. So you're just like, I just need to eat something. Like my stomach's growling. Like I'm kind of angry and like you're like tense, just really need to eat. So perfect. Yeah. There you go.
What?
Okay. So far, everybody's examples have been really good. So like, just please keep them coming. I'm really proud and impressed with all of you guys. Yeah.
Well, I really have some years ago. I was shipped to America. Hilda was her name. Well, her identity has changed. Well, she was awesome. We were dating well at birthday. But 2 days later, I knew that she had a boyfriend. But the worst thing is that she had some doubts, and she considered me as a second alternative option.
So sorry, all of that makes sense. So I missed, what was the example of slang that you used? Sheepish? What?
Shipping, right?
Shipping.
Shipping? Yeah. Shipping is. Wait, can you just repeat where you used shipping?
What?
Can you just repeat the part of that where you used shipping?
I was shipping 7 years ago, but changed shipping by shipping. Ship, like ship.
Okay, so shipping isn't usually something that you do where like you're one of the parties. Shipping is like if I have two friends. Right, so like if I have two different friends and they're just friends, but like whenever they're around together, they always make jokes and they're really cute together. I might say that like I ship them, like meaning like I want them to date because I think they'd be good together. So
They have a good chemistry.
Right. So it's not usually something. The reason I'm it's because like usually Americans when they use it, it's usually about other people.
Yeah.
Or like for example, Are you guys familiar with Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Right. So I have a lot of friends who, even though Ron and Hermione ended up getting together in the end, they had shipped Harry with Hermione.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Meaning like they wanted them to get together rather than Ron and Hermione. Yeah. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Very good job. Good job. Anybody else? Yes.
One day my friend told me sorry, you can, she told me, you please check if my ex change or update her photo by Facebook and say, oh my god, that's so Stan.
That's so what?
Stan.
It would be more exaggeration.
So, okay, you use it based off of like the definition we have, that's right, but usually like a stan is like, you use it, I think, kind of like as an adjective to like describe the behavior, and usually a stan uses like a noun or even as a verb. So usually like if I really, and like I guess it's a mixture, it's not so much as, it's really an obsessive stan. So like if I just really love, I don't know, who's like what? Beyonce, right, exactly.
It's when someone is obsessed with something.
A super hardcore fan.
Right, so like if I follow somebody on social media, so like Beyonce's from, I think like Houston.
Yeah,
Houston? Okay. Good. I was other Americans would be upset with me if I didn't know that. Beyonce's a big deal in the US. So if I was in Houston with a friend and that friend was like obsessed with Beyonce and followed her on social media and like knew where she had a concert at the time, and we were in Houston, and I was like, whoa, we're in Houston, I wonder if we'll run into Beyonce. And my friend was like, oh no, right now she's in Toronto for a concert. Like that shows that they're like kind of like obsessive to the point where like they know where she is at that given moment. So it's like, it's not usually necessarily like really a bad thing, but just it means like a really obsessive, passionate, enthusiastic fan. So yeah, usually I'd say like I'm a, for example, Beyonce stan, like a really obsessive fan. Or sometimes it can be used as a verb, like to mean like I am a fan. But that's usually on just like texting. So like I stan Beyonce. It means like I'm a fan of Beyonce. But that's newer. That only came around like a few months ago. Okay, so if you guys need to go, you guys can. Does anybody want to try to go one time before we go? Yes.
Okay, so I met this girl who was looking so I was myself doing hiking with you. You are dating. She told me that I was rude and I was like, bye, Felicia.
Wow, that was a lot. Yeah, that was good. That was really good. I know that. Good job. Bye, Felicia. Bye, Felicia isn't, so it's worth noting, I've never heard somebody say bye, Felicia in person. It's usually like a response over text or social media, but you still used it correctly. I mean, like, for all I know, that was actually text, in which case, that was fine. So, like, if somebody tweeted something, that was just really, like,
It's like I want to see you again.
yeah, kind of. Like, if you're following somebody on, like, Twitter, for example, and they tweet something that's just really, like, stupid and maybe a little bit, like, offensive, and you're like, I don't know, like, what? You would say, like, bye, Felicia, and maybe, like, tweet, like, a gif of somebody just, like, turning their head and walking away. Meaning just, like, I don't even want to deal with this. Or, like, I'm just, like, not gonna, just, like, I'm, like, dismissing this now. I'm, like, this isn't going any further, kind of. But the way you use it is perfect. Yeah.
What I mean is that, do you mean that it's not more properly say it by texting?
Bye, Felicia is something that people don't usually say, like, in-person conversation. It's usually something that you text or use on social media. Yeah. But okay. Good job, everybody. If you're free to go, but if you want to stay around and like keep talking about slang or just keep talking, I'll be here. So, but this is your like opportunity for you if you need to. What? Oh, right. Sorry. Happy birthday first. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I was leaving
How
it
old are
till
you?
20.
20?
Wait, you're older than I am. I'm still 19.
You're
this is weird. All right. Okay. And just so that everybody, because I know that we went around and did names in the beginning, can you say your name one more time?
Okay.
Let's say.
Right.
Okay.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jose. Happy birthday to you.
Yay! So you guys all know it in English? Know the happy birthday song? Yay! Okay, good. Yeah, in
You know in Spanish?
yeah, feliz cumpleaños a ti.
No.
What?
Not.
Wait, that's what I was taught in once.
No.
It's a full
Yeah, it's another one.
What?
It's another one. It's a Latin one.
Okay, wait, but sing it to Jose and I'll just listen because I don't know.
Una, dos, tres.
Estas horas mañanitas que cantaba el rey David. Hoy por ser ya todo mira que ya amaneció, ya los pajarillos cantan, la luna ya se metió.
Okay, Jose. Are you doing anything fun today besides coming in conversation?
Yeah, I'm gonna be with my friend
Yay!
into what's the thing.
Oh, wait, into what event?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Oh, that's out. That's where Six Flags is?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, cool.
One part.
Yeah, one.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Very
funny.
fun.
That's great.
That's awesome. Yeah. Have a great day. Yeah.
What is your favorite flag?
What is my favorite slang? Sorry, I was checking. Hi. What? I don't know. Oh yeah, take care. Oh, thank you. Oh, and also just as a reminder, I know initially it said this was go live until June, this through August 21st. So come next week, and the week after that, and the week after that, we'll still be here. Oh yes, of course. No worries. What's my favorite slang? I don't know. I don't think about. I mean, I don't know. That I have a friend that uses bet a lot. So I bet.
Oh,
Like bet.
Yeah.
Like it means kind of like okay, like let's do it, kind of like you bet we will. Like you can place like a bet on the fact that we'll do something kind of. He uses bet a lot and he uses Gucci a lot, so I associate both with him, and so like that's fun because he goes to different college than I do, so I haven't seen him in a while. But whenever I hear them, I think of him. Some others, I don't know. I think yeet is fun because I think that yeet is just fun to say.
Yeah.
Like yeet, it's just I don't know. Finesse is kind of funny. Yeah, I don't really know. There's some also that we put on here that there's some that we didn't put on here that I use a lot that I like oof. It's like if something happens that's just like bad or didn't turn out the way somebody wanted, and you're just like oof.
Okay.
It's I don't know. I think that's fun, and oop is also kind of fun.
You?
Like just like oop like I like if I'm like, oh yeah, the whole reason I went to this party is I thought that she'd be there, but she wasn't, and a friend could just be like, oof, or like, oh, they're just kind of like kind of like ouch, or like that sucks, kind of. But they're just like fun, kind of like upbeat ways of saying it.
Yeah.
I don't know. There are lots of things too. I don't even know how they came about. I just think that they're. I don't know. Yeah. I guess that's that. I can't think of more off the top of my head. I'm really sorry. Yeah. They would use a lot in like 7th
did you really use it? In here says for pets. But do you really use it?
Wait, they?
Yeah, this
Oh
is
no, it's
pet name.
a pet name. A pet name means like a diminutive.
Oh, okay.
It's like a cute name.
Oh,
It's like
like a nickname or
yeah no sorry you no sorry a pet name doesn't necessarily mean like a name for a pet. Like if a pet name for you is like an affectionate, endearing nickname.
Yeah.
Or like a term of
like a worm.
yeah, like if I call my significant other, like my girlfriend, my bae, that's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like
We
it's
use
like
it
oh
for that, but,
yeah.
yeah.
It's like romantic. It's like saying like honey or sweetie, but it's like our generations. Like
Yeah.
if somebody our age said like honey, like honey is a I don't know. Honey is something that I feel like is more of a like the generation above us. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why I don't know how to explain a lot of this. Like honestly, if you want to get good at understanding American slang, Twitter.
Saturday Night Live. I love Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, Saturday Night Live would just
Social media, newspapers, magazines,
Yeah.
YouTubers.
I probably yeah. If you want like specifically like this slang, I think David is right. Like YouTubers, social media, like Saturday Night Live, like late night comedy shows,
Yeah, like Ted Meyer, Jimmy Fallon,
like Stephen
Jimmy
Colbert,
Kimmel, yeah.
Jimmy Kimmel, yeah, like
I love them all.
shows like
Ellen
those.
DeGeneres.
Yeah, you'll definitely learn something. Yeah. So yeah, there you guys go.
The first activity because I was I didn't understand very well.
Okay.
It's on internet,
Um,
online.
Yeah, so I don't think it would be too hard for me to give you access to it, and honestly, I don't think like the terms that were in it were that important. But Kahoot, if you're a teacher, are you a teacher?
No.
Okay. Well, Kahoot is really helpful if you are a teacher because it lets you like type questions and answers. So it's like a test basically, but a teacher will say, "Okay, everybody, like get out your phone. We're gonna play a Kahoot." And then everybody in class goes and tries to be the first person to answer and like compete. And sometimes she might give a prize to the person who gets the highest score. So it's a way of like making like reviewing class material more fun. So it's commonly used in like American schools, not in like universities, but in like high schools and middle schools. So we just thought it would be fun to use. I mean, it just went over like, it went over a few that like, honestly, if people say, I think one of the examples was the bee's knees. And the bee's knees means like the best or something that's like really good. But like the bee's knees is something that my grandpa uses. Not even my parents use it, but there was some commercial that used it, and now some people say it ironically as a joke. Hi, Mariana. So like I was kind of surprised that it was even on there since the only time I ever hear people say the bee's knees is if they're trying to be funny by being like ironic. But it just went over things like LOL. And like LOL stands for like laugh out loud. So like if I text you a joke or a meme that's funny, and it's like instead of writing like here, I know you guys write like J-A, like ha 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 ha, right? Like I could also just respond like lol. It means like laugh out loud. Just fun. Yeah. I mean, it was little things like that, and I think it was like 12 questions. So 13. Oh, 13. Oh, sorry. But yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When I went to New York last September, I heard a couple of friends, two friends, talking. I was in a comic shop, and one
Wait, in a comic shop?
comic shop,
Like a comic book store?
Yeah.
Okay.
Comic store. Okay, and here that the boy said to the girl something like, "You are a sucker," and
if you're a sucker for something, it means that you like you have a weakness for something, or you like really like it. So like, if I'm
because I think
sure, I could say like, so in that context, I could say I know a lot about comic books. But if I'm like, oh, I'm a sucker for multiverse stories. So meaning like, if there's a multiverse involved, I'll probably like it. meaning like I have a weakness for something, or like I especially like this. So if I say like, oh, I'm a sucker for movies with plot twists, it's like saying like, oh, I like movies with plot twists, or oh, maybe if other parts of the movie aren't good, but it does have a plot twist, I'll still enjoy it and like it.
Yeah.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, but because the word is very
Sucker?
Sucker.
Or yeah, just like, well, a sucker means to be like a fool, or like weak, or like, you know, like if I'm like, oh, don't be a sucker, it means like, oh, like don't be stupid, or like, oh, don't be silly. But so like in the context, it kind of means the same thing. It's just like not usually as, I don't know, like if I call somebody a sucker, it's of the things you can call people, it's relatively light, and it's usually used more like jokingly or like passingly with friends. So like if I'm actually upset with somebody, I'm gonna call them words that are a lot meaner than sucker. Whereas like sucker is, I'm probably just gonna like jokingly use it with like a friend. So like I don't think it's like I doubt he wasn't trying to like actually be mean to her. I don't think. It's just like,
Okay.
yeah.
Would you buy something? But because when I went to boat is the past of buy bought hamburger in shake.
When you bought, yeah, when you bought.
I bought hamburger in Shake. The
Shake
the
Shack.
person- Shake Shack.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, like a shack is like a
Shake
building.
Shack.
So it's like a little house. So it's like house of shakes. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
The person who, I don't know, let's say, the person who,
The waiter?
the waiter, okay, said me, are you a soccer? And it's what?
Oh wait, was there any was
What
there
is the
any
context?
other context?
What is
or-
the context?
was it-
I don't know. I feel afraid. I don't know because the word is very offensive, and I didn't respond to him. He only went.
Wait. So they just came up to you and out of the blue said, "Are you a sucker?"
Yes. Then I searched in online and the meaning and then I think that maybe he was referring to if something like if I like the hamburgers very much, or
Yeah, I don't think. Okay, my guess. I don't know. Some people in New York like pronounce words slightly differently. I can't think of what word that would be, but especially servers and waiters like can't say anything remotely rude to like a guest. That would be like very rude, and they'd probably be fired for it. So I'm guessing they were probably trying to say something else. I'm not sure what, but I don't think that any server would just walk up to somebody and ask that. They. I don't know. I'll keep thinking on what.
It could be like Amador, in this case, soccer, when he was trying to tell him.
Are you a? I don't know. That's.
he was trying to be offensive.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think he was trying to tell you like you're
A fanatic of.
ajá, eres aficionado a las hamburguesas. ¿verdad?
Yeah.
It's common
Sí.
to talk with something.
Yeah, I mean that's. Well, yeah. That is another use. Right, like what I was saying before. Like if I say I'm a sucker for movies with plot twists, it means basically like I'm an aficionado for them, or I'm a fan of them. I don't know. That's still an odd or awkward thing for somebody to say, but I think I don't know. New York in general is a very like diverse and relatively like accepting place, and like the people there can be like rough, but like people there are more likely to say like if you bump into them on the street, somebody might say like, "Hey, watch it, I'm walking here," but they aren't gonna like just call somebody in a restaurant a sucker. So that's odd. I honestly don't know why they would have said that. I'm sorry. That's not how people would usually use it. Yeah, no, sorry.
Okay.
I don't know. But yeah, sorry. Hopefully that makes sense. But just know that like the word sucker is like isn't that bad. It's like it's not.
It's not so silly.
No, it's not so rude. Like you usually use it more jokingly or like with a friend. It's not like because like if I'm actually mad at somebody, I'm not gonna call them a sucker. Right? Like English has a lot more words that are a lot meaner than sucker. Right? So like sucker. Yeah, I mean sucker is just like I don't know. I don't even like. First of all, it's not used very often, and like it's more nowadays. It's more often used like with friends or in a joking context than like as in a mean context. And like I said, like the most common. Yeah, sorry. I have no idea why they would have said that, but yeah.
Okay. I'm sure he was trying to say that I said prefer like a sucker for hamburger.
Yeah. Even that. Yeah.
But it's still a weird flex.
I don't know. It's so weird.
It could be a trendy word that they use over there.
In New York, yeah, I'm friends with New York. I don't know. I can ask them, but I guess I can only assume that a server wasn't trying to hurt your feelings or wasn't. I don't know what they were trying to say, but sorry on behalf of like the U.S. if it hurt your feelings. Yeah. No, I don't know. Like I have, but yeah. Sorry.
Next time when I will go.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Yeah.
Oh, put under pressure. Soccer is just a big hit of the Jonas Brothers.
Maybe another word.
Yeah, I'm thinking it was probably another word. I'm just trying to think of what word it would be, just because that is like not a thing that really makes sense in context. I don't know. Sorry. Bye. Take care. See you next week. Yeah, great. Take care. Yeah, I don't know. That's a mystery. But
I looked for this expression in
Urban Dictionary.
and the last meaning of the.
Okay, so Urban Dictionary often has definitions that usually they have some definitions that are good, and then they usually have some that nobody uses and nobody's ever heard of, and usually have like weird, more sexual meanings that are not how words are commonly used. And so Urban Dictionary like take their definitions with a grain of salt because they aren't always how people actually use the word. Like I don't really know, but yeah, sorry.
I think you don't know about some word.
Yeah.
Meaning or what you mean, what is the context of that.
Yeah, and I think like yeah, I just honestly don't know. Sorry.
That's okay.
But were there any other words that like you've heard, or, like slang or idioms that like you heard that you didn't understand, or that confused you?
No. Well, then see you.
Take care. Bye. Take care. Also, I need to write a list down of everybody who came and was in my group. I know your first names. What are your full names? Like, including first through last.
To write down?
Yeah, actually. I don't think I have any scratch paper. Let me get all Could you just write your full name real quick?
Okay.
Yeah, just anywhere. Here.
your name, I have problems with your name.
Devin.
Devin, but it's D-E...
V-I-N. But there are different ways of spelling it. So it can also be a female name, but when it's a female name, it's spelled D-E-V-O-N. And then it's more like Devon, right? Devon.
Your name is Devin.
My name is Devin.
Devin.
Devin with an I. So Dev-in. But my roommate actually is Indian, and it can also be a name that's Telugu or Hindi, but in Hindi it's spelled D-E-V-A-N, and in Telugu it's spelled D-E-V-E-N or D-E-V-U-N. So the version of my name, it's weird because it's both a Gaelic name from like Ireland and Scotland, anyway, sorry, it can be spelled lots of different ways, sorry, but yeah, I spell it with an I. Haas. H-A-A-S. It's like ha ha ha, but like with the like sound on the end. So like Haas.
Like Herman Hess?
Yeah, the same like sound on the end. Yeah, so like Haas. It's my heritage is from Ireland, and like so my dad's side of the family is part German, which is what Haas is German, and they're part Irish, and my mom's side is Eastern European Jewish, so like a mixture of like Jewish heritage from like Russia, Poland, Serbia, Austria, Hungary, I think Slovakia, so like all over Eastern Europe. So, but Haas itself, Devin is Irish, and Haas is German.
And
yeah.
you only use the last name of your father, right?
Yes.
And the
mother's name just gets dropped. Yeah. Although, yeah, so most Americans just go by their first name, which is their given name, and their father's last name. But you might see now in some very like progressive or like, yeah, more like progressive areas, like maybe in parts of like Oregon and like Northern California, you'll see instead of the child taking the father's last name, they hyphen the names of both parents. So, for example, my father's last name is Haas, and my mom's last name was Stearns. So they might say that their last name is Stearns Haas, or Haas Stearns, like Haas dash Stearns.
And would you like that?
Yeah, I'd be fine with it. It's not, like, I'm used to my name now, and I like how it is, but, like, who knows, if down the road and I get married and I have a kid, who knows, maybe their last name will be a mixture of my last name and my wife's, but...
Everything is changing, also the
yeah.
names.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you so much for both getting the names. Yeah. Take care.
Bye.
¿Te vas a quedar aquí en la biblioteca? Hasta luego. Hasta luego.
¿Hiciste educación?
Sí. Sí, al final no salió. Ya nada más salimos, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Gracias.
¿Ya le retiraron algo? Permítanme.
Sí, claro.
Ah, espérame, deja buscar la página.